Welcome. Wherever you are right now, I invite you to pause, to breathe, to set down whatever you've been carrying. This is your moment, not to figure things out, not to fix anything, but simply to be here, in this quiet space, where peace can begin to settle in your chest. Tonight, we turn to one of the most beloved passages in all of Scripture. Psalm 23. It is short in words, but deep in meaning, a passage that has comforted hearts in the darkest valleys and brought peace to restless souls for centuries. But these are more than just familiar verses. They are a lifeline, a whispered promise, a song of belonging in a world that often feels scattered, sharp, and unsure. You may know the first words already. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. We've heard them at funerals, in hymns, in quiet prayers at night. But tonight, let's not rush through them. Let's sit with every word. Let them unfold like a gentle sunrise. Let them rest over your heart like a soft blanket. Because they are not just ancient poetry. They are truth. They are presence. They are life. So settle in. Get comfortable. And let's walk slowly, verse by verse, through this psalm. Let it speak again. Maybe even for the first time. The Lord is my shepherd. Right from the start, we are reminded of relationship. Not a distant God or a nameless force, but a shepherd. One who knows us, watches over us, walks with us. To call the Lord a shepherd is to say, I am known. I am cared for. I am not forgotten in the wilderness of this world. Shepherds don't abandon their sheep. They stay close. They watch through the night. They call each sheep by name. And so, when David wrote these words, he wasn't writing about theory. He was writing from experience. David had been a shepherd himself. He knew the long hours, the dangers, the tenderness it required. He knew what it meant to guard and guide something fragile and precious. So when he called the Lord his shepherd, it meant something personal. This isn't a title we recite. It's a truth we hold close. You are not wandering alone. You have a shepherd. And he walks with you, even now. I shall not want. What a bold thing to say in a world full of lack. In a world that tells us to chase, to strive, to prove our worth, here is a line of quiet sufficiency. I shall not want. Not because I have everything I could dream of, but because I have him. And that is enough. It doesn't mean we'll never feel longing. It doesn't mean our hearts won't ache for more. But it means we're never without what we truly need. The shepherd knows. He knows when we are hungry for more than food. He knows when our souls need rest more than accomplishment. He knows what sustains us even when we do not. And he provides. Slowly. Faithfully. He makes me lie down in green pastures. There is something deeply gentle in these words. God, the shepherd, doesn't just lead us to green pastures. He makes us lie down. Sometimes, we are so used to movement, to urgency, to staying busy. But here, we're told that part of his love is to slow us down, to bring us to stillness, even when we resist it. Because stillness is where healing begins. Imagine the scene. A quiet meadow, soft with grass, dappled with light. A breeze passes through the trees. The shepherd stands nearby, are not pushing, not rushing, just watching over you as you rest. You are safe here. You don't have to keep going for now. You don't have to solve or carry or fix. You can just lie down. How rare is that in our world? To be allowed to stop. To be given permission to rest, not because everything is finished, but because the shepherd says it's okay. He knows what your body needs, what your mind needs, what your soul longs for. And in his presence, we are not called to achieve. We are called to be still. He leads me beside still waters. Still waters. Not wild rivers or crashing waves. Still. Calm. Gentle. In the ancient world, sheep would not drink from rushing water. They needed stillness to feel safe, to receive, to be refreshed. And so, the shepherd leads them to the kind of place where peace is possible. You don't have to find it on your own. He leads you there. He walks beside you, step by patient step. And in that quiet place, where the noise fades and the wind softens, your soul can breathe again. How long has it been since you felt still? Not just silent, but at rest? Safe enough to receive peace, not just think about it. That's what he offers. Still waters. Where we can let down our guard. Where we can drink deeply of his presence and feel nourished again. He restores my soul. This is the kind of restoration we can't give ourselves. We can rest and sleep and take time away, but soul restoration, that's something only God can do. He reaches into places we didn't know were empty. He finds the parts of us that have grown weary and forgotten. And he brings them back. He restores not by replacing, but by renewing. Not by erasing the past, but by reminding us who we are in him. Loved. Held. Seen. Enough. Even when life frays and unravels. Even when we lose parts of ourselves along the way. He restores. Gently. Completely. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. The journey continues. The shepherd does not only bring us rest, he brings us forward. He leads us in righteousness. Not in confusion. Not in chaos. But in a path that is aligned with his goodness and purpose. Sometimes, we think of righteousness as perfection, something to achieve. But here, righteousness is a path. A way. A direction. And we do not walk it alone. He leads us. There's no pressure to figure out every step. Only the invitation to follow the one who knows the way. And he leads us not for applause. Not to prove anything. But for his name's sake. Because his character is faithfulness. Because his love demands that he guide his people. Even when we feel uncertain, he is not. Even when we take wrong turns, he is not shaken. His leading is rooted in his nature, and his nature is good. But then the path changes. We leave the gentle green pastures. We leave the still waters. And we enter the valley. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. The tone shifts. And perhaps that's why this psalm has endured. Because it's honest. It doesn't pretend life is always peaceful. It doesn't pretend the shepherd only leads through easy places. It says plainly, even in the valley, he is there. The valley of the shadow of death. What a phrase. It's not death itself, but its shadow. Its presence. Its weight. Shadows stretch long in the heart. They follow us silently. Sometimes it's illness. Sometimes grief. Sometimes fear we can't explain. And still, we walk. Because the valley is not the end. We walk through it. And the shepherd walks with us. I will fear no evil, for you are with me. That's the turning point. Not that the valley disappears. Not that the pain vanishes. But that in the middle of it, he is there. The shepherd does not stand at the other side calling, hurry up. He walks beside us. Step by step. Through every shadow. His presence is the comfort. His nearness is the peace. And so, the psalmist says, I will fear no evil. Not because evil isn't real, but because you are more real than my fear. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. The rod defends. The staff guides. Protection and direction, both held by the same hand. The shepherd is not passive. He defends us from harm. He redirects us when we wander. And even his correction is comfort. Because it means he cares enough to come close. To keep us safe. To walk us through the valley, not around it. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. The scene shifts again. From the valley to a table. Not just any table, but one prepared by the shepherd himself. Thoughtfully. Generously. And where is this table? In the middle of safety? No. It is in the presence of enemies. That's what makes it astonishing. God doesn't wait to bless you until the battle is over. He lays the table in the middle of it. He says, sit. Eat. Rest. While trouble stares on. The enemies don't vanish. But their power fades when you realize you've been invited to dine, to be nourished, even in the presence of things that once terrified you. The shepherd honors you. Feeds you. Cares for you, openly. And your enemies? They must watch as he lifts your head. This is not a table of fear. It is a table of confidence. Of peace. You don't have to rush through your meal. You don't have to guard the edges. Because the one who prepares the table also guards it. He sets it for you. And he stays with you at the feast. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Anointing is an act of honor. Of setting apart. Of healing. Of joy. In ancient times, guests were welcomed with fragrant oil. It cooled the skin, soothed the spirit, and reminded them they were not just visitors, they were valued. That's what God does for you. You are not just surviving. You are welcomed. Seen. Anointed. And your cup? It overflows. Not just full, but overflowing. This is the shepherd's abundance. Not stingy. Not just enough to get by. But more. Grace that spills. Mercy that overflows. Even in pain, you are not empty. Even in hardship, you are not alone. Even in silence, you are still being filled. This is a shepherd who goes beyond what is required. Who gives more than enough. Not because we deserve it, but because his nature is generosity. Because love is his way. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. What a promise. And what a shift. Up until now, the shepherd has been leading, going ahead, guiding the way. But now, something else begins to follow. Goodness. Mercy. Not chasing us in anger. Not tracking us in judgment. But gently trailing behind. Covering every step. Every stumble. Every valley. They don't just appear occasionally. They follow us all the days of our lives. Not just the good ones. Not just when we get things right. But every day. Every ordinary moment. Every season we don't understand. When we look back, we'll see them, goodness and mercy, woven into places we missed the first time. They were always there. Because he was always there. It means we're never truly alone. Even when the path seems unclear. Even when we wonder if we've wandered too far. Goodness and mercy are still following. Like loyal friends. Like the soft rhythm of hope behind every heartbreak. And they are not temporary. They are not conditional. They are part of the shepherd's promise. They follow us until the very end. And even then, there's more. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Not visit. Not stop by. Dwell. To dwell is to remain. To live. To be home. The journey ends in presence. In nearness. In the fullness of God himself. And it's not just for a while. Not just for the best years of our lives. Not just for moments when we've earned it. But forever. This is what the shepherd offers. Not just provision. not just guidance, but himself, his presence, his house, forever. And that's what changes everything. That's what brings peace. The world may shift, the valleys may come, but the shepherd never leaves. And in him, we are already home. And so we arrive at the end of Psalm 23. But perhaps it's not an end at all. It's a return, a homecoming, to rest, to trust, to the quiet knowing that even when the road is long, we do not walk it alone. The shepherd leads us. He restores us. He walks with us through the valleys. He blesses us in the presence of our enemies. He surrounds us with goodness and mercy. And he welcomes us into his house, not as visitors, but as his own. These words aren't just poetry. They are a rhythm, a reassurance, a place to come back to, again and again, when the world feels uncertain. Maybe you needed that reminder tonight. That you are not forgotten. That even now, in whatever season or struggle you're in, the shepherd is near. You don't have to carry everything. You don't have to know the way. You just have to listen for his voice. And follow. He'll take care of the rest. So rest now. Let the words of this psalm settle into your spirit. Let peace rise slowly, like the dawn. Let the shepherd hold your heart, guide your breath, and watch over you as you sleep. Thank you for spending this time here, resting in the promises of Psalm 23. Wherever tomorrow takes you, may you walk it gently, knowing you are not alone. Good night, and may the quiet strength of the shepherd go with you.